Welcome to episode 22 of Venti Questions, the show with friends, coffee, and conversation. I'm Michael.
And I'm Chris. And today we're talking about holidays. Where do they come from? And which ones we enjoy celebrating?
Listen all the way through to find out.
So, Michael, what's new with you?
Funny you should ask. So I took on a new hobby thing that is both super frustrating and also extremely exciting. So I'm getting into woodworking. It's something that I've wanted to do for decades.
Yeah.
I bit the bullet and said, you know what? This is why we have credit, and went ahead and purchased a bunch of the big things I was going to need, tools wise, and like that. And I got to the point where I was like, all right, I've designed the first couple of things I want to build that are super simplistic, finger quotes here. Let's go and get the wood.
Yeah.
And then I realized that even though I consider myself pretty handy and stuff, I don't know nothing about wood.
I don't know nothing.
Nothing.
So you have to figure out how much wood a woodchuck could chuck.
And then also what he would prefer. Would it be maple, oak, cherry? I don't know.
I don't know. What kind of wood does he chuck?
Nobody knows. All we know, it's the best wood ever.
It's the best wood.
So here's my thing. I did some Googling and I figured out a couple of things about it. And basically the biggest recommendation was don't go to the big box stores, because not only is it going to be a little bit more expensive, it's going to have a higher moisture count because it's more rated for construction.
Oh.
And then also it's going to have less of a selection overall.
So it's not great for furniture building, but it's good for framing and then drywall and
100%.
that.
Now they do actually sell the wood that would be considered good for furniture building, but it's pre-cut into very limited selection of sizes. And you're paying a ridiculous price for it.
Right. Okay.
So for a 4 foot by 2 foot section of plywood that was maple, which is what I was looking for, it was $30-$40. Whereas because I looked up a couple places there, within driving range, and it was half that price for twice as much of the wood.
Really?
Yeah. So it's it hit from both ends.
I gotta even contact him. It's been a while since we chatted. It's before I went to London. But Jonathan, my friend Jonathan, he that's what he does.
Yeah, I know, and I would love to get some tips and things from him.
You met him before? Yeah,
I have. I've met him a couple times, but the same token, I've met the guy maybe 20 times or so, because for a while I was a member there.
Yeah.
So, but the same token, he's gonna be yeah. You know what I mean? It wasn't we were hanging out.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, no, I think he remembers you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I strike a pretty big image. I'm a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
I laid that up for you, and you took the high road. I'm very proud of you.
In stature.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's it.
But yeah, no, so if nothing else, just the information of where do you get your wood would be very helpful. Because also, okay, one more thing and then we'll move on. They also measure the wood differently at these places.
From the base, I know. That's usually
no. You got to do it from the bottom. That's how you feel good about yourself at the end of the day.
Okay.
If you do it from the top, you're just gonna have tears. But anyway, no, they do it by a cubic foot.
Okay.
Instead of just a regular foot. And so it's a really weird system that apparently is confusing for everybody. The fact that there's actually apps that you can put the measurements, the normal measurements in, and then it will tell you how much it should cost. But anyway, so that's what's new with me. What's new with you?
Nothing too crazy, nothing too much. I got the shipment in of these little 164-inch not Hot Wheels, but like cars.
Oh, the F1 ones you were talking about.
Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to collect all of the models of Ferrari F1 cars, and since they've been doing it forever, basically like I think like 75 years or something like that.
That's a lot of cars.
Yeah. And so I've gotten volume 1 and volume 2, and they're not all in order.
Okay.
So it's like each like collection they kind of piece in.
They picked a couple of like the mainstay ones.
Yeah. But it's from Japan. So like even like everything's on it, it's all basically in Japanese and stuff. But like on the box.
It's like full kanji.
Yeah, like on the box. But it's really cool though. I mean it's and they're, you piece them together, you have to actually build them. So it comes with this little screwdriver, screws, and then like 4 or 5 pieces that you assemble it, so you're assembling it yourself. It's kind of cool. So it's a little project, but it's not so complicated. You can literally build all of them in probably maybe an hour easily,
Now, I do have a question.
There's 20. So
once you put it together, would it be something that you could actually like play with theoretically if you wanted to?
Yep. They're just regular like Matchbox Hot Wheels cars.
That's really cool.
164 scale, Yep.
Yeah. Because, I like weird stuff, and I like some of the diecast 164, like YouTube channels where they do like the little downhill racing and things like that.
You could do that if you wanted to.
I'd feel like uncomfortable doing that with your stuff. I'd be afraid because that's not what that's for. But I'm saying like that's
display.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Well, if I work on my woodworking, then maybe I could build a display for you.
That'd be good.
There you go.
I like it.
All right. So today we have our first coffee of season 2.
Yeah.
So my question to you, good sir, is what are we drinking?
Well, we are drinking Oh Fudge, Michael.
Oh Fudge.
Oh Fudge.
I don't know how you're supposed to say it how do you say fudge with 3 U's? Is it fudge?
You got to do like 3 count. Fudge. Fudge.
Okay, cool. Anyway, besides that craziness.
I went on too long.
It was fun though. So the company is Bones Coffee Company. It's actually a semi-local roaster. It's from Cape Coral, Florida.
Yeah.
And the type of coffee that it actually is a medium roast. Now, I know that last season I was given a lot of junk for mostly medium roasts.
Yeah. And
I know we're starting off with one, but this is a Christmas type style blend. And this is our holiday episode. Come on.
We have to.
It's kind of like in the contract that I made and forged your signature for. Anywho, this particular bag is a whole bean. So we did actually get the chance to grind the beans like we did for all the ones from last season. Yeah. Not all of them are that way, though. Some of them are ground already. So that's why that is actually a thing. And then the branding for it is really cool. Hopefully you can see some of the things on here, but it's based upon the movie The Christmas Story.
Yeah.
So you have the pink bunny outfit. You have the kid with his tongue stuck to the flagpole and a couple other little references for it. I think the bunny actually has glasses, but one of them's broken from being shot in the eye with the BB gun. Yeah. So, I hate that movie. Absolutely hate that movie, but I love the reference. They play that movie for like 24 hours on at least one channel every year.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
Every year.
They also have the stupid leg lamp. So
funny enough, that's not the #1 Christmas movie. Did you know?
Oh, wow. You literally got me on that one. So good. Okay, go ahead.
Home Alone is the #1 Christmas movie selling of all time. Yeah.
That is actually quite interesting. Hold on. I have a very full cup of coffee.
Try it.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's good. Sweet. With the way we prepared it.
Oh, that's very good. So, full disclosure. This is not our first cup of the coffee. We already went ahead and did our new system of rating the coffee a little bit ago. And we'll get to that in a second. But we realized that this coffee is probably going to be one that was more suited for cream and sugar.
Yeah.
So while we did rate it based off of a pure black coffee, and that's the rating that we're going to keep,
Yeah.
we also just wanted to try it with cream and sugar, and
It's better.
it is
good.
Delicious with
It's
cream
like
and
a
sugar.
dessert.
And
coffee.
this was just regular whole. I have whole milk and some raw sugar.
Yep.
I think you had what 2% and some raw.
2%, yeah.
And so like it's nothing special. There's no fancy dancy stuff to it or nothing. So let's go over our rating. So really quick, we're being bougie this season. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
We now have like a what is it like 7 category scoring system.
Yeah.
It goes up to 100 points. Okay. And then I think what we're going to do is we're then going to average our scores afterwards, and the average score will be ranked still by beans, right? But
Yeah.
each bean will be worth 20 points, if that makes sense.
Be our VQ rating.
VQ rating's all about the beans, bro. So personally, do we want to go over all the categories just really quick or no? I don't know.
Okay. I mean, we can go over them as we go over the ratings.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So the first section is based upon the palate itself. So the very first thing is aroma.
Yeah.
You can score this one from 0 to 2. And this coffee, both as soon as we opened up the packaging and as when we ground it, after we poured it, after everything, smells amazing.
Yeah, it does.
It smells like freshly baked brownies.
Yeah. It actually
Top marks.
now with the cream and sugar in it, it tastes as good as it smells.
It does. So we went ahead and did that one. The next one is the body of the coffee itself, which this is another scale of 0 to 3. It's pretty decent, but it was lacking. This was a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit lacking. It didn't have a lot of body to me.
Right. Drinking it black.
Black. Everything we're talking about is drinking it black. Then the aftertaste. Here's the thing. Is there an aftertaste? Yeah. It's consistent, but it's very mild.
Right.
But it's not necessarily a good or bad aftertaste either. It's just like, yeah, I just had a sip.
Sure.
Once again, now with cream and sugar, good aftertaste.
Great.
So I
Tastes like Christmas morning.
that is the most like cavity filled, sugar induced coma morning breakfast ever, if that's what your Christmas morning is like, because this is so sugary. The next section is going to be 3 different categories for the flavor balance. So the first one is acidity. It's not, in my opinion, there could be a little bit more acidity to it and it would be perfect. So it's a little lacking in acidity, which is, in my opinion, the better. I'd rather have a little bit less than have too much.
Yeah.
Personally. And then sweetness. This coffee was not a very sweet coffee without the cream and sugar.
No.
And I think that the main reason why was that it smells so sweet that then in contrast when you actually drink it and it's not, you're just like, where's the sweet?
Right.
Yeah. So that kind of sucked. And then the last one in this category is the complexity / bitterness of it. For me, coffee wasn't to the point of bitter that I like the most, but it was still pretty bitter, which is what I like. So
Yeah.
I was happy with that. And then of course the last thing is its actual drinkability aspects. And so once we do all of the calculating,
Wow.
you're welcome.
Wow.
You're welcome. Did you get the reference from it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got the reference.
Ba-doom-tsh.
Michael.
My overall score was a 68. And what was your overall score?
64.
Oh, only a certain generation of people are going to get these references.
Yeah.
So overall, that would give us what, a combined rating of a 66?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Averaging. Yeah.
Never averaging now, which is really good. I mean, for our first one, it's a 3-beaner. Not bad.
1-6 away from the Devil's Coffee.
Wow.
Wow.
That's it's a little disconcerting for a Christmas. Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Satan Claus.
Anyway, but yeah, so that's the new system. I personally like it because we're no longer gonna. I don't think any coffee is gonna have the exact same rating.
Yeah.
This season, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Be good.
But that's where we're standing for our first one, and
Till next week, where it's only 2 points away from this rating.
It'll be very similar somehow. All right, so we're moving on now.
Moving on.
I have some little this or that questions for you based on the Christmas holiday. All right.
Is it this? Oh, that. Let's do it.
Exactly. So
You're going to surprise me, aren't you?
yes, these ones, you may have looked at it now that you're looking at the show notes, but I came up with 5 little ones that are somewhat tailored to us, but then also kind of broad. And then each one's a different category. All right.
I'm excited.
So when it comes to music, we all know that music around the holidays sucks.
What?
Yes.
What?
But
How dare you?
would you rather have on the radio Mariah Carey or Michael Bublé? Which one are you tuning into?
Michael Bublé, man.
100% high five.
All day
I
long.
want to hear it. I'm sorry. Even after the meme aspect of like Mariah Carey's like All I Want for Christmas, I don't even care about that. Michael Bublé is just better.
I like his voice.
I mean, I listen to him non-holidays as well. So yeah, that's just me.
He's got a good tone. Nice
Look,
register.
plus he has a great story. Yeah, him and his family. It's very sweet and heartwarming.
Yeah.
Movies. Now, we both agree that Jingle All the Way is one of our favorites.
Yeah.
And we also both agree that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So if you had a choice between those two,
Jingle
which one are you watching?
All the way.
Immediately.
Jingle all the way. Hands
Really?
down. Hands down.
I mean, I agree with you, but I actually expected you to have like a little bit of a, I'm not really sure, like a little bit of a torn thing. For me personally, you're putting Bruce Willis against Arnold. Like,
Yeah, you're putting
and Sinbad.
You're putting Arnold in a comedy against Bruce Willis in an action movie. And I think Arnold's comedy is actually beating Bruce Willis's action.
Yeah.
If you're looking at those two movies.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, here's the really sad part when you really think about it. Multiple main characters from both movies are no longer with us.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd rather watch Jingle All the Way.
It's a better experience. It's fun.
That's what it is. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you still get like an uplifting, like, hey, the good guy won at the end of Die Hard. But like Jingle All the Way, that's just fun.
It's a family movie.
Yeah.
And if you're talking specifically around Christmas, you get more of the Christmas feels than you do, obviously, Die Hard. Even though it is a Christmas movie.
100%
We agree
Christmas
that it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. This one's a pretty simple one. Would you rather have a real tree or a fake tree? I'm not saying what do you have. I'm saying what would you like to have?
A fake tree.
Really?
Yeah. That
This
smells
is-
like a real tree.
This is where I disagree with you.
Yeah.
I know that a real tree is a pain in the butt. I'm not going to argue against that. But it's just so much better than a fake tree.
I'd rather have no tree.
Oh, me too. We're like bah humbug brothers here.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I had to pick one or the other, I'm taking a real tree, even with all of the annoyances attached to it.
Nope.
Would you rather give presents or receive presents?
I like giving presents.
Yeah, me too. Here's my thing. My personality, if I want something, I don't care if it's Christmas Day, the day before Christmas, or like August. I'm just going to go buy it. So I'm a horrible person to buy gifts for. But there's nothing more enjoyable for me than finding something and being like, "Ooh, they would like this." That's just fun for me.
Yeah.
Yep. And I turn it into a game. So, if I gamify something, then game over.
I enjoy gift giving. I enjoy, you know what it is? It's the zoning in and figuring out what someone either wants or what they need, and then having that available for them.
Hey, man, you got me an awesome gift because you got me some new sandals. And that was definitely a need. And you know me, I'm lazy. And even though my sandals got messed up like 2 months ago, I probably would have let them go until at least August.
And you would wear them until the strap broke where you could no longer wear them, which is fine. And you should still wear them so you can alternate. Here's my original plan, by the way. Sorry to cut you off. My original plan was to get you 2 pairs of sandals. I was going to get you a brown pair and a black pair of sandals so you could alternate, and even with different outfits.
Yep.
Here's the problem. I couldn't even find that pair of sandals.
Well, even though it's Florida, it's still wintertime.
All the stores, the seasons change, so they don't even have the availability for that. Not only that, quality of sandals. I was going for quality too.
And I'm a little snobby when it comes to my sandals. Like that is like the one thing I will spend money on apparel wise more than anything else is sandals.
Yeah.
Which is the weirdest thing for me, but it is what it is.
And they had a pair of black reefs at that same store that I got yours at.
Yeah.
That I was actually going to get you in addition to, and those were like $16.
Reefs are not super expensive, but they're pretty decent quality.
Well, this was at a clearance store,
yeah.
But like, I was like, could get them anyway, but the ones I got you were a little pricey.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm not dumb. I know how much those probably cost. Yeah.
Well,
I can imagine how much they were at retail.
$120.
I was wrong. I was going to say 89 to 90. That's what I was thinking.
And it was half.
Here's the thing. Do you remember when I used to only wear the Hollister ones?
Yes.
Do you remember how much those were?
No.
Those were like 99 or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was back in the day when I would not spend more than like that's a lie. I wouldn't spend more than like $30 on a pair of sneakers.
Yeah. I know you're a sandal snob, so I wanted to make sure you had something that was decent.
In slight defense, and I know we're going on and on about this, but the main reason why is that that like rubbery plastic like material, if it goes in between like my toes or whatnot and it rubs, it actually will give me a rash. So I have to use leather, or like fake leather, which is fine.
Well, the ones I got you, it's like a nylon.
Yes.
It's not.
It feels good.
Oh, it's good?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, if it's that,
it can't be that plasticky or fake leather stuff.
Yeah. It for some reason, it literally gives me like little hives.
Interesting.
I don't know why. My feet are bougie. But my last question for you. Around Christmas time, does it feel more like Christmas to you, or is it preferred, however which way you want to take it, to have warm weather or cold weather?
Cold.
Yeah.
It needs to have cold or I'm not into it.
Spoiler, I'm not a big holiday guy anyway.
Yeah.
But if you want me to even have a chance to be in the holiday spirit, it needs to be sub 65 degrees at least. And that's like pushing it. It really needs to be sub like 50.
I need to go, I need to get
it's
chill.
cold
Give me
in
a chill.
here. Yeah.
Gosh.
Throwback.
No. No, yeah. On that same kind of note though, I never feel into the holiday spirit until literally the day before like the holiday. And oddly enough, I don't like Christmas, but there's something about like that day before the Christmas Eve day, like
anticipation.
I get slightly excited for it. Oddly enough.
May I make an observation that I feel like it might be?
Yeah.
Is that you get excited for now all that gift giving that you've been getting reared up for. Now you get to see the people react to what your gifts were. Is that what it really is?
Yes.
That's what it is for me.
And that's what it is. It's a callback to that previous question. It's like, would you rather give the gifts or receive the presents? Well, I'd rather give them. And then that's why the 100%. Christmas is exciting. So you can see that. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So getting to our main topic.
Yeah.
Holidays. Now, obviously, this is right before Christmas.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about Christmas. We're talking about holidays in general.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to cover, how do we feel about holidays in general?
I don't like them.
I very much dislike holidays.
Yeah.
Now, I think that this is a byproduct of the social like stress level and importance that is put on us from like whatever the holiday is, that you have to, you know, like do this and do that. And if you don't do this, then you're not in the spirit of that. And
Yeah.
so part of it for me personally is I feel like it's a control issue.
Okay.
The other part of it is that I don't like to follow the crowd in a sense.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a contrarian or anti-mob mentality, and I've mentioned this 4 billion times.
Yep.
So if everybody's talking about red, then I want to talk about blue. That's just the way I am.
Right.
So
yeah, it's for me, I don't like the ritual of holidays where you have to, the expectation is same thing like you said, but the expectation is, oh, you have to go do this and you got to do that and you got to decorate this way. And if you don't have the lights in your neighborhood, then they're going to look at you funny. You know, it's like the expectation that people put on you for that. And then the assumptions, right?
yeah, I agree.
And all that. And then just, as you said, there's pressure that comes along with all of that.
And I think that a lot of it comes from, and this is going to sound kind of bad, but I don't mean it like this. It's from the family, right?
Yeah.
Either the family was we were growing up or the family that we have now. And it's not intentional. I think that it's just a subtle, subliminal thing where it's just like, oh, we're not going to do fill in the blank thing.
Yeah.
Hear how my voice just went up? And it's just like,
Yeah.
You're like, no, I don't really feel like doing it. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And just that little tiny bit of the, oh, it's like, oh, great. Now I've disappointed you.
Right.
Great. So now I have to do that.
Right.
And it's just like, now I'm frustrated because of, you know, the fact that I'm not wearing green on St. Patrick's Day. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
like, it's a dumb thing.
Right.
So it frustrates me.
That for me, and the other side of it is how people act, and it's out of character. Why are
Fake.
you right? Why are you acting this way now? Oh, yeah, I got you a gift. I got you this. Here's your socks, or you know. And it's like, you didn't think about me for half the year, and now all of a sudden this is something that you're gonna be that person. You're gonna I got you.
One of my biggest pet peeves, and luckily I don't have to deal with it anymore. I haven't had to deal with it for a few years, but the amount of gifts or cards or just well wishes that you get when working in a corporate environment from people that have not talked to you since the last year that they did the same thing out of obligation is so just like, really, bro?
Yeah.
That it's very frustrating to me because I don't like fake.
Sure.
I don't have a problem with someone not like getting along with me or just like whatever. That doesn't bother me because everybody has people like that. It's totally cool.
Right.
But then don't insult me by faking that, like, because it's the social norm to be like, Merry Christmas.
Right.
Can't stand it.
Yeah.
All that being said, if you had to pick one holiday that you liked the most, or we can even phrase it, dislike the least, what would yours be?
That's a tough one.
Really?
It is. I don't really like any of them.
Okay.
Right. So it's just one of those things that what I would say is I don't like what holidays are, knowing how they came to be, right? Like knowing what they were.
That's fair. And we're definitely going to be jumping onto that in a moment.
Right.
Trust me.
Now, if I can erase all of my knowledge of how they originated and kind of how they became.
Pocahontas effect. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like the pop culture thing, as opposed to like what they really were. You know, Christmas isn't bad. I would say New Year's. Do you consider that a holiday?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I'd say New Year's is
New Year's
cool.
Day or New Year's Eve. I consider those two separate holidays.
Do you?
In my mind, because it's the end and then it's the beginning. That's so obvious, by the way. But what I mean by that is you're celebrating the fact that you made it through the year and that you accomplished that.
Yeah.
And then the next day is, okay, cool. Now it's a fresh start to the beginning of a new year. To me, I think they should be considered separate entities.
Yeah, but my answer is both.
Oh, okay.
And
that's fair.
Why? It's because I like the rollover. I like the leading up to, and then it clicks over to the new. So then it's that you get that feeling for both. It's like, here it is. It's going to come here. And then boom, it switches over to now it's a new year. You're looking on the calendar and you're flipping the page, and now you're starting a new calendar.
Cool.
I think it's
not to dump on the holiday you're choosing, because I don't mean like that at all. Nowadays, dude, I'm in my mid-30s. One of two things is happening on New Year's Eve. I'm either falling asleep at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, or I'm up until 3 or 4 in the morning that day, but I'm like, oh, hey, it's New Year.
Yeah. So I don't care about actually going to any New Year's parties or doing anything like that.
Right.
It's really just okay, this is the end of this year and the beginning of the next year.
It's just the whole aspect of, now that I've woken up and it is the first.
Yes.
I'm good. Now let's focus.
Right.
Let's rebuckle down.
Right.
That's cool.
I'm going to bed and I'm putting everything from this year and then, away, and I'm starting fresh, new page, flip the calendar, as I said. And then now it's like, and it's the whole typical, New Year's resolution. But you know what? There's something to say about, hey, I need to get my act together with this, or, hey, I want to start a new hobby, or, learn a language, or whatever it is. Doesn't mean you stick to it all the time, but it's that excitement of, all right, I'm going to try to be disciplined.
Here's the thing I have. Okay, really quick, because I don't want to go too deep into this, because we got so much fun stuff after this. The issue I have with New Year's resolutions, it purely comes from society. That's the only issue I have with it, because setting goals and like giving yourself like that checklist to be able to help get you that little bit of serotonin to get there.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
But because a societal aspect of a New Year's resolution is that, oh yeah, well, you're never going to do it because it's New Year's resolution. That like people have crapped on it for so long.
It's true.
Since before I was born, they've been doing this.
Yeah.
That now we look at those things with a negative context.
Right.
And it's not really fair, because if you were going to tell me on February 1st, hey man, for the rest of the year, I'm going to do I would be like, heck yeah. But if you did the same thing on January 1st, I would roll my eyes without even thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not fair to you.
No, I agree though.
But that's exactly what I would do.
The stigma.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, but there's that's the reason why, that's I'm assigning my own value,
of course,
to it, not caring about
you have to.
The
That's
rest.
what you have to do.
And that applies to anything,
It really is, because, there's always somebody who's going to be there to help bring you down.
Yeah.
And as messed up as that sounds, there's always going to be that person.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, you get that person that helps bring you back up.
Yeah.
But, to answer the same question, though, I am such a basic person because it's Halloween.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know.
That's why I didn't.
But
it's like it's an excuse. It's an excuse to cosplay with kids.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
I'm not in it for the spookies. I'm not in it for all that kind of junk.
Right.
I like to dress up. I like to make costumes.
Yes.
I am now being given an excuse to do so, where people don't look at you weird.
And society accepts it for a day.
It's like, hey, nerds are cool today.
Right.
Because the people that have the crazy awesome costumes, you're like, oh, that is so cool. They don't realize that it took them 9 months to make that costume. But you get to kind of like inhabit that other person for a minute.
Sure.
You get people to be like, oh, wow, that's really cool. They ask you, all of a sudden they're interested in the thing that they would be making fun of you for like a week ago.
Yeah.
But in that moment, it's cool. That's why also I love conventions, because it's collecting all those same kind of people and putting them in one room.
Yeah.
So the same basic principle of it. But yeah, so that is mine. And I know that it makes me such a basic dude.
Well,
but
I was going to say Christmas at first, and then I thought about it. I'm like, then I was selfish and I said New Year, because Christmas is for the kids, like the joy,
100%.
Having kids changed my perspective of holidays. I will say that.
That's fair.
I hated them before. Now I kind of get excited with Christmas. I'm not going to lie, because my daughter, like, she can talk about it. We can, you know, we see that look on her face. And
here's the fun part is that this, while like I mentioned before, we're recording this and it's a couple days before Christmas, but this will be released after Christmas.
Right.
So therefore I can totally say this. I am so excited to give the kid the gift I'm getting her this year.
Right.
Which is she's getting sounds kind of lame. Okay. But she's getting my old iPad.
Right.
Mainly because of the fact that she's going to use it for drawing aspects.
Right.
And that to me is the coolest thing ever. And I'm so excited. And so, like, you know, I've got her all the little different things, and like I got her a new little pencil, and
you got all the accessories.
It's engraved with the thing on it and everything like that.
Right.
So, you know, it's just cool little stuff like that, and little books that help her draw little cute animals. And then also, because I want her to be a nerd, how to draw fantasy style.
Right.
It's actually a really cool book. I might try to steal it. You know, but like, I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I could give like 2 shakes. I don't care.
Right.
So, yeah. Like I said, it's all, like you're saying, it's all about the kids.
It's all about the kids. That's it.
Yeah. So, this is what I did this week.
Rabbit hole. No holiday pun intended.
That's not the first one, though. So I looked up a simple Google search. What are the most popular holidays? And the top 3. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest here. I do not remember where this source came from, so it could be completely wrong. All the rest of the source stuff, I know exactly where it came from, and I'll call them out. But as far as the top 3 ones, the top holiday is not any of the ones I expected. It's Valentine's Day.
Interesting.
Which I would not have counted in my top like 5. But that's what it said. And so I was like, cool, I'm going to research this. So we have some very basic information. When is it?
Yeah, February
14th.
Yeah.
Right? I forget that all the time. I always get confused between the 14th and the 15th. I don't know why. When I was in like middle school, my best friend Ian, his birthday was on the 15th. And I think that's what messed me up is the whole thing. So anyway, then I went ahead and got what the public perception of the holiday is, which is it's recognized as a celebration of romance and love in many regions of the world.
Public perception.
Public perception. It's what people think when they're thinking about Valentine's Day. Little naked babies shooting bows and arrows and chocolates in shapes of hearts.
Is it? I wonder if out of all the holidays, more card sales are on that day than any other holiday.
Okay. So while I do have a section of little fun facts like that, I did not copy down that fact, but I did look into it. And yes, there are more cards given for Valentine's Day than any other holiday.
It makes sense because you'd give a card and like chocolates, or a card and like, I don't know.
Because the only thing, coupons. Whoa, never mind. I was going to say they're, relationship coupons.
Yeah.
I have both given and received those in past relationships.
Yeah.
A background. It's called being broke, y'all.
Yeah.
But I was a little shocked by that because I was like, well, Christmas cards, but you don't always give a Christmas card with every gift.
No.
So, it equals out.
Yeah.
So I have, in our lovely little bit of technology, a huge amount of history for Valentine's Day.
Sure do.
I'm going to skim through.
Could we get the Cliff Notes here?
Yes. So the basic aspect is that Valentine's Day is a day to celebrate the anniversary of Saint Valentine's death and or burial.
Romantic.
Which probably they think occurred in 270 AD.
Right.
Now, mind you, all of this information comes from historychannel.com. So I'm not saying that I'm a genius. I'm saying that I'm trusting them. And if this is information that is wrong, yell at them, not at me. Yeah. Now, the other thing is that Valentine's Day is supposed to celebrate St. Valentine. The problem is, do you know how many St. Valentines there are? 6. Do you know that they all didn't happen to die on the same day?
Oh, no.
Yeah. They died all throughout the year.
Yeah.
So some countries do celebrate Valentine's Day multiple times
Interesting.
because there's different ones that they feel are
Sure.
deserving. So that's a little fun fact that I thought was just crazy cool. Did not know that at all.
Yeah.
Now, other people claim that the Christian church may have decided to place St. Valentine's feast day in the middle of February in an effort to Christianize the pagan celebration of, I apologize for my pronunciation that is about to occur, Lupercalia.
Sure. So yes, the Roman church, the Romans, that's exactly what they've done with multiple religions.
Everything.
Yes. It's like, you know what? How are we going to get the people's buy-in now that, Constantine says that this is the official religion? So let's just paint that over another celebrating, another day celebrating. And this is through multiple holidays. Actually, most of the holidays in existence that are Christian holidays, that's exactly where they come from. They overlap.
And here's the fun fact. While I'm not going to say what the other two holidays are that are number 2 and number 3, I will say that this is a thing that happens in every one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not always from the Roman people.
Nope.
But a lot of times it is. Because, that's where we got a lot of our stuff
The
from. Let's be
popular
realistic.
ones. Yeah.
A lot of our Western, that's funny. A lot of the Western holidays that are celebrated are based upon, Europe and things of that nature.
Sure.
So it makes sense. Now, another fun fact was that the pagan celebration, right, that I was talking about, which is the Lupercalia, I think, it was celebrated at the Ides of February, or February 15th.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fertility festival dedicated to Faunus.
Yeah.
Faunus? Oh, that sounds actually correct. Sorry. Yeah. The Roman god of agriculture, as well as the Roman founders, Romulus and Remus. Basically, what would happen is, and this is what was, I thought, really crazy. The priests would get together and they would go to, I forget where it was, like an area by the sea, if they could, or something like that. And they would sacrifice goats for fertility, and dog for purification. Then they would strip down the goat, like skin it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then they would dip the skin things, basically think of like a nine tails, but probably not as painful. And they would dip it in the blood and then go back into the town and smack women with that thing, because the blood was supposed to say like, hey, for the next year, you're going to be very fertile. And this was not something that women were like, oh gosh, no. They were like, please whip me with the blood of fertility.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Slap me with the goat skin.
Yeah. The bloody dipped goat skin. Creepy.
Wow.
For instance,
better than sheepskin.
Far from being fearful, Roman women welcomed the touch of the hides because it was believed to make them more fertile in the coming year. That is weird. And then this is the best part. Later in the day, according to legend, all the young women in the city would place their names in a big urn. Stop me if you've heard this story before. The city's bachelors would each choose a name and become paired for the year with his chosen woman. These matches often ended in marriage.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, that didn't say for the night.
Right.
For the year.
Yeah.
So every year you were like trading in a car. But that car happened to be your girlfriend, wife, whatever partner, whatever you want to call them.
The first reality show.
It's crazy.
It's
though.
The Bachelor.
Wow.
It's literally.
No, he's right.
Yeah.
He's got a point. So I thought that was really interesting. Now, I also have some fun facts. Okay. So.
Little FF.
Did you know? How do you like it? That the English poet Geoffrey Chaucer was the first to record St. Valentine's Day as a day of romantic celebration. I did not know that. I will give you more information.
I would like to know more.
Thank you. In his 1375 poem, Parliament of Fowls.
Oh, please read it.
Writing For this was sent on Saint Valentine's Day. One Ethrithfau cometh there to chooseth his mate. Yeah. So there you go.
That's why, would you be my Valentine? And the Valentines.
Well, see, here's the thing is that the reason why one of the reasons why they think that that February was the right month for the celebration or whatever was that this was the time frame when most birds would choose their mate.
Right.
So that's why he's referencing it like a bird. So that's why it's like, fowl, obviously bird chooseth his mate. So yeah.
Oh, deviation of that, right?
Yeah.
Currently, I guess modern in school. I know what happened in school as a kid when I was a young kid. What goes on now in school with Valentine's? Is that like something that's shunned away or discouraged because of the craziness that we exist in this world?
You know? I think that we were in the world during the understandable transition, right? Where originally it was you would make a little envelope in like your art section of the day that you would hang on the edge of your desk. And then like after recess, everybody would like put the things in the ones they wanted to do. And then a few years later, it became you weren't allowed to bring in Valentines unless you brought a Valentine for every single kid in the class.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
That happened starting in like, I think it was when I got to Florida, which was like 5th grade. Where like literally if you didn't have like 32 Valentines, you couldn't give anybody Valentines.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Because we did that all the way up until then I came to Florida, and then we were too old to do that at school.
By the time you got to Florida. Yeah.
Right.
Now here's my thing. Nowadays, with allergies and all kinds of other crazy things, what are they supposed to do?
I don't even know if that's the part I'm thinking about. Honestly, I'm thinking about more, does it come across as, oh, that's inappropriate or that's too rapey or, you know what I mean? Like just the culture.
I don't think it's crossed that line yet, the rapey line, which I'm with you where you're coming from, because give it another 5 years with our trending path. And yeah, this one, the fact that Thanksgiving still exists is a freaking shock every year.
Right.
But it is what it is. So no, I don't think that's going to happen yet, but I think that is a possibility.
Is Valentine's Day canceled in schools? Like, do they not allow boys and girls to engage in that? Or
I don't know.
Do you have to use
ask the kid?
Right.
I'm very interested now. Now there might be a follow-up next week.
Yeah.
So I have a couple little things here. Now I'll give you options. I can either give you a little information about how it's celebrated in different countries around the world.
Yeah.
Or where Cupid came from. Your choice.
I don't care about Cupid.
Perfect. Because honestly, I think the other one's more interesting anyway.
Good.
So 2 sections. First, many Latin American countries know the holiday as, I'm so sorry, El Dia de los Enamorados, which means Day of Lovers.
Enamorados.
Now, there is a whole junk more of another one because it's also known as Day of Love and Friendship. I'm not trying that one.
Okay.
Though couples exchange flowers and chocolates on this day, the holiday's focus is also directed at showing gratitude to friends. And I thought that was actually really interesting because not only is it a day of, your romantic relationship, but also your platonic ones, which is
I like
something that why don't we have that in this country?
That's what it is now.
Okay. Now, let me I'll backpedal. Now the other one, and this one I know because I'm a nerd and I like anime, is in Japan, it is customary for just the women to give confections to the men in their lives, with the quality of the chocolate indicating their true feelings. According to Fortune, on March 14th, exactly a month later, the men repay the favor by celebrating the increasing popular White Day. I know that sounds bad, but it's translated, so chill out. But no, because of anime, I literally already knew this, and I thought it was really interesting, and it was something that I'd already looked up years ago, because same thing, totally off topic, but in Japan, Christmas Day isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve is a big deal.
Pretty sure White Day's not going to catch on in the States.
Yeah. But do you want to know what's pathetic that is catching on?
Let's hear it.
All right, there it is. Sorry. a lot of little did you knows. There's an official Valentine's Day alternative for singles.
I don't want to know.
International Quirky Alone Day is the holiday for single people on the same date. The holiday isn't an anti-Valentine's Day event, but rather a moment to celebrate self-love and platonic relationships. International Quirky Alone Day has been celebrated globally since 2003.
Also known as Buy Yourself a Sex Toy Day.
Wow.
Amazon sales skyrocket on this day.
Bad Dragon, what? Anyway, so that was the meat and potatoes, but I have a couple of little fun fact things that are pretty cool. We didn't get the first mass-produced Valentines until 1840s.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting. Americans send 145 million Valentine's Day cards each year.
Yeah.
145 million just in this country.
Eat your heart out, Santa.
And the first heart-shaped box of chocolates was introduced in 1861, which I actually would have thought way earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy, right?
Well, I guess you have to look back on when the heart and why the heart was,
I'll be honest, I did see some information on that in a sense, but it was more about like the little candy chalky heart thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I immediately was like, ew, gross. And I moved on. There was like 6 or 7 different little facts for it. So all of my information, like I said, is coming from historychannel.com. And then also the little fun fact type stuffs was a combination between that and then goodhousekeeping.com.
Interesting.
They have awesome lists for holiday like fun facts.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm just putting it out there. If you ever want to know anything, that's the place to go. Like I researched a decent amount of time because I wanted to find a couple of places that I'm like, this has a name that's somewhat reparable.
Right.
Let me get some information from there.
I've heard that name before.
Exactly. I didn't want Joe Schmo's personal website.
Yeah.
Nothing against Joe Schmo. He's a great guy. But
yeah, came to the holiday party.
I mean, when you're invited, I guess. So the second most popular holiday, I know you know it because it's on the show notes, but I didn't think it was going to be Easter.
Yes.
Now, at first glance, I was like, Easter. Obviously, Christianity is a very widespread religion, but there's a lot of non-Christian people. And then I started thinking about it and the fact of, yeah, a lot of people that celebrate Easter don't have any religious ties. It's kind of just a thing now. Okay. So that was my mindset, right? So once again, the win. Pretty much anywhere, man. So yeah. Easter can either be in March, April, or May. It's all about different little extra fun stuffs, which you probably know more about than I do. And I'm not going into that aspect because I didn't want to go down there. The public perception.
The religious aspect.
Oh, well, I'm going to hit a lot of that in a minute. Easter commemorates the resurrection of Jesus from the dead, which is described in the New Testament of the Bible. The celebration is often characterized by feasts, Easter eggs, and the Easter bunny. That is the public perception.
Yeah.
The history of the holiday tells a much different story.
Bum, bum, bum.
The English word Easter comes from Astora or Astoria, an Anglo-Saxon goddess of spring and fertility. Other historians maintain that Easter derives from albus, the Latin phrase that's plural for alba or dawn. The celebration, that became, Astarium, an Old High German, a precursor to the English language of today. Despite the significance of as a Christian holy day, many of the traditions and symbols that play key roles in Easter observances actually have roots in pagan celebrations, particularly the pagan goddess Aroste, and in the Jewish holiday of Passover.
Yeah.
That felt great reading. I had to read that whole thing because I think it's hilarious because I've known this forever.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that so many people will die hard, like argue with you about like, no, this holiday is because of the Christian religion and blah, 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 blah. That then it goes, really? Then why is it named after the pagan goddess?
Yeah. No, it's another example of it being overlapped with a pagan holiday to popularize. Right.
So there's a lot of like little nuggets, but you know, just to like not bore you with me reading for 12 paragraphs.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problems. Because I know you know all this. The Christian aspect of it, you know, is based upon the resurrection. You know, there's a lot of symbolization that they've taken from that, you know, like the egg and all that kind of fun stuff. Now, the other aspect is that it's also associated with the Jewish holiday of Passover, as well as the exodus of the Jews from Egypt, as described by the Old Testament. Yeah. Now, obviously, the connection there is that the Last Supper is thought of as being a Passover meal,
right?
Which also obviously coincides with the death and then the obvious resurrection of Jesus.
Right.
So those two kind of interconnect and they kind of like, they hold hands.
The Last Supper is a Passover meal. That was the whole point of them gathering.
You'd be surprised how many, what's the word for religious historians? It's a special word.
Theologians.
Yeah, it's like a special thing of that. Yeah, they don't always agree on that.
Yeah.
Oh, I went down some paths, my dude.
It basically says it.
Yeah.
It actually does say it.
We'll talk about some things that it does and doesn't say in our next holiday.
In the text.
So, fun facts.
Yeah.
Easter eggs.
Okay.
So, this is something that is also very pagan. It's an ancient symbol of new life. It's part of the pagan festival celebrating spring. Obviously, the Christian version of it is that it's the how is it phrased? It's said to represent Jesus emerging from the tomb and resurrection, is what it's said to do. Now, I've always heard that the egg has to do with the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit aspect because it's three different portions. It's the shell, the yolk, and the white of the egg.
Never heard that.
Oh, you've never heard that one?
That's not I don't think that's a popular Christian.
That was one of the big ones I've always heard.
Yeah, no.
Because when I researched it, the main thing they were saying, the Christian aspect was just because of the life, the death, and then the resurrection. It's the three parts. It's once again the three parts of the egg.
The egg itself really has no roots in Christian.
I know it's such a
lore.
Yeah, such a grasp.
Yeah.
Now, the one that I think makes the most sense was that the whole aspect of the decorating of it, right? So the decorating of the eggs for Easter tradition, it dates back to the 13th century, according to some sources. One of the explanations is that eggs were formerly a forbidden food during the Lenten season. And so people would paint and decorate them to mark the end of that period of penance and fasting, and then they would eat them on Easter as a celebration.
Yeah.
So it was like, hey, we can finally do this. Let's make them look pretty.
Right.
That makes sense. That's what normal people would do.
Sure.
And you got to realize that in the 13th century, these were like serfs and stuff. Like these were not like the people you see all nicely done up on all the HBO type shows.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot more sense to me. Easter Bunny. This one I had no clue of. But then when I was talking about it, because I got really into all these holiday things with my mom, she was like, oh, yeah, it's from blah, 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 blah. And I was like, why do you know this, but you've never told me? So it's a German thing. No one knows exactly where the Easter Bunny comes from, but it's thought to. It first arrived in America in the 1700s with the German immigrants who settled into like the Pennsylvania and all that kind of stuff. It's based off the tradition of the egg-laying hare called Ostrahair. The children made nests with which the creature would lay its colored eggs, and once again, fertility and all that kind of fun stuff. So the Easter basket and the Easter bunny, this is what it started off as, and then it turned into like chocolates and candies and so on and so forth. So that was like the
I didn't know that
evolution. I had never even heard of this.
Yeah.
But when I said, "Oh yeah, the Easter Bunny," she was like, "Oh yeah, from the Germans, it was Osterhair." And I'm like, with proper pronunciation, which I'm not doing, and I'm just like, what the? Why was this never part of my childhood? Why didn't I know this?
Well, they started doing it when she was
Wow.
a child.
Wow. I hope she hears this.
Joking. I'm joking, Mom.
Now the other thing is just that the food's pretty cool stuff. Lamb was typically used a lot. And then it slowly switched over to being ham a little bit.
Yeah.
But it depends. Not if you're Jewish.
Not if you're Jewish.
It's still very much lambish.
Yeah.
So
Christians had to hijack it. No, we don't eat lamb. Give us a pig.
Well, part of it was that at first it was lamb, the Lamb of God, and then it changed into no, we can't do that. It was a really funny like pull back, push forward. It's hilarious. So some little short facts. Americans spend $1.9 billion on Easter candy.
$1 billion.
$1 billion. But that's still the second biggest candy holiday after Halloween.
Of course.
That means that we as Americans spend more than $2 billion every year on Halloween candy.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
That is so infuriating.
It's a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
Give me the sugar.
Here's another thing, diabetes. 76% of Americans think the ears of a chocolate bunny should be eaten first.
Really?
Really. And this is something that was not only part of the History Channel's thing, but also Good Housekeeping. Same exact percentage. Dual source.
Have you had many Easter bunnies?
I don't like chocolate that much.
Have you had any Easter bunnies?
In my life? Yes.
Did you start with the ears?
I think I started with the head. I bit his head off.
The ears are on top of the head.
Not if you do it from the front.
You bit his face off.
Yeah, face.
You had some bath salts and just started eating his face. That's basically what you did as a kid.
I don't like how you're trying to turn it, but yeah.
So for me, it would depend on the bunny.
Really? It depends if you go from the top or the bottom, huh?
Well, because if it's the traditional upright ears up versus like the bunny where there's a tail and, the ears are like back like that. But also if they had any type of candies on it. So sometimes on the eyes or nose, it'd be like those little sugar candy things. Yeah. I'd bite the face off for those.
And you looked at me as a villain for doing the same thing.
Yeah. I had to villainize you so I could feel
Moving on. Americans eat about 1.5 million peeps during Easter.
Yeah.
I don't like peeps.
I like peeps.
Really?
They're okay. They're good. I used to like them a lot. I used to like Cadbury eggs.
I remember that.
And then I don't like them. They burn the back of my throat. Like the stuff inside the...
No way. I did not know that. Yeah. I knew you used to like them.
Yeah,
but
now I can't eat them. I can't eat
burn the back of your throat.
Like too sugary. Like it's... I don't know what it is in the...
That's
the
so
egg part.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. The last little bit I got in here. Sorry, that really threw me. I was not expecting that.
There it is.
The last thing is that in 1953, it took 27 hours to make a single peep. Now it takes 6 minutes.
Wow.
6 minutes.
6 minutes peep.
6 minutes a peep, my man. Which brings us to the third most popular holiday. It's Christmas.
It's Christmas.
Oh, yay. Which honestly, I was expecting to be the most popular holiday. Not going to lie. Because I'm like, everybody celebrates Christmas.
No.
Even if they don't celebrate it, they celebrate it.
Sort of.
A lot of places.
I know. Yeah.
Which is very interesting. Anyway, when is it? December 25th. Public perception. Marking the birth of Jesus Christ. The day is a religious and cultural celebration around the world. Both Christians and non-Christians alike celebrate the holiday that is characterized by Christmas trees and decorations, Santa Claus feasts, and gift giving.
Yeah.
So right away, first thing, Bible never says when Jesus was born.
No,
It's not in there.
they don't celebrate birthdays. Actually, they didn't celebrate birthdays.
Yeah, it was part of like one of the break off for like Jehovah's Witnesses and stuff like that, isn't it? Something like
Well,
that.
they don't. Yeah,
Well, they don't any holidays or birthdays or anything like that. But
anything
anyway,
that's not honoring God, it takes away from that. That's what why they do it.
this is the part that I loved. Pope Julius I chose December 25th as the day because all right, it's commonly believed that this church chose the date in an effort to adopt and absorb the traditions of pagan.
Saturday.
Say it for me. I can't pronounce it. What is it?
Did you have it written here?
Yes, sorry. It's not highlighted though. It's the word Saturnalia.
Saturnalia, yeah.
Saturnalia. Festival. Now, obviously, that's just a festival for Saturn.
Yeah.
Who is the equivalent of Zeus. Finger quotes.
Right.
Because of the same issue.
Right. Romans version.
took over the Greeks. And they were like, hey, you celebrate that guy. We celebrate him too. He just calls something different.
There was so much cultural appropriation back then.
Wow. Yeah, I know. Because if you weren't on board, they didn't give you a platform to talk about it. They just gave you a platform to hang from.
Yeah.
So that was one of the main things. One of the things I thought that was really kind of like snarky that they put in here was that although they don't know when he was born, although some evidence suggests that his birth may have occurred in the spring. Now, in parentheses, it says, why would shepherds be herding in the middle of winter?
Yeah.
Which is just like, calm down, History Channel. Jeez. That's a little rude. Don't give them facts. Come on. There was something else that was interesting about like the time frame. Because like I said, this is like, it's like this much text on the history. Like I copied down so much of it because I thought it was just really interesting in general. But I don't want to read the whole thing. But yeah, for the most part, basically everything that was done, it was based upon pagan aspects.
It's overlap there.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, mine.
Yeah,
hey, mine.
It was the same thing. Basically, what was happening to paraphrase. The Christian religion basically came into towns and were like, hey, we're basically the same, you and I, but I need you to kind of like join this team. We're still going to do this, but it's just going to be a little bit different. And then just the next year, it would be a little bit more this way, and then a little bit more until like the next generation didn't even realize that it used to be something else, which is currently where we're at now.
Right.
And so it just kind of switched from there. Now, this one I also have.
It's once Rome adopted Christianity, as Constantine said, hey, this is the religion of Rome
now.
Then it just made its way into the culture of other, right? I mean, it just overlapped everything that they've done. So
I mean, and it's not just like, obviously we're talking about holidays, but let's be real here. The Roman people, I don't know how to phrase that. The Roman Empire caused almost half the stuff that is current in some way or another.
Oh yeah.
Because of just how much area they owned,
right,
and how structured they started off.
you could almost say they've paved the road.
Moving right along. That was a really good pun. Knocks up. All right. So I have a couple different areas that basically like the what do they do kind of thing in their area. Yeah. So the thing I thought that was cool was obviously Scandinavia. It was a celebration from the Norse. And that's where we get the Yule log, right? So their whole thing was they celebrated Yule, which was December 21st, the winter solstice, through January.
Yeah.
The thing that I thought that was really cool was the people would feast until the log burned out, which could take as many as 12 days. They would take a big log and bring it home and then it's light on fire. The Norse believed that each spark from the fire represented a new pig or calf that would be born during the coming year.
Interesting.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, that's kind of sweet. You know that basically it was like one parent explaining it to some kid, just making something up, and then it just stuck. Mm-hmm. You know, I thought that was really cool. In Europe, it was mostly thought of was a perfect time to celebrate because at that point of the year the cattle were slaughtered. They would slaughter all their cattle right around that time frame, so they didn't have to feed them during the winter when they were like trying to have as least amount of a burden of feeding as possible.
Sure.
So for a lot of people, this was the only time they had meat the entire year.
Interesting.
Sorry, not meat. It was the only time they had beef.
Oh, got it. Okay.
No, sorry, meat. Period. Meat. Just straight up meat. The poor people, they didn't have it. So this was the only time they had that. Plus, there was a lot of wine and beer that currently would have been just right from when they were fermenting it and making it during the summertime.
Wow.
So because of that, it was just like a perfect storm of things being ready that people were merry. You know what I mean? It's just like kind of fits.
Yep.
And then the best one, in my opinion, because it has to do with like Odin, is Germany.
I bet.
It's really cool, actually.
Go figure.
Hey, don't hate.
I'm not.
Mussolini. Anyway, in Germany, people honored the pagan god Odin during the midwinter holiday. I see your hand. Germans were terrified of Odin, and they believed that he made nocturnal flights through the sky to observe his people, and then decided who would prosper or perish. Because of his presence, many people chose to stay inside.
Odin Claus.
Odin was the first Santa Claus, dude. And it wasn't like who's getting a present, who's getting coal. It's who is going to get to live and who is going to die.
So there's no time frame on this that I see here.
No, because they didn't give me one.
Okay.
I'm assuming that all this was back in like the 13 to 1700s, which I know is a huge gap. I know, but that's one thing I can come up with because I did not give any dates.
Okay.
A little fun fact: Santa, right?
Santa baby.
So, do we want to get into where?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. So it can be traced back to a monk named Saint Nicholas, who was born in Turkey back in 280 AD. Now, I'm going to skip through all the other stuff. Basically, he was an awesome person, right? Yeah, he gave away all of his
inheritance and wealth,
like, way he was supposed to as a monk at that time frame in that particular like denomination. I guess might be the right word, probably not. And he was very big sect. Thank you.
Yeah.
He was very big on the protection of children and sailors. Weird combination, but do your own. Now, here's the thing that's awesome is that it says St. Nicholas first entered American popular culture in the late 18th century in New York when Dutch families gathered around to honor the anniversary of the death of Saint Nicholas. Now, the reason why I say Saint Nicholas is because that's how it's spelled. Right? Because it's supposed to...
S-I-N-T.
S-I-N-T.
Yeah.
And it's Nicholas, which is Nikolaas. I thought was pretty cool.
Cool way to spell.
Which is Dutch for St. Nicholas or Sinterklaas for short. Santa Claus draws his name from this abbreviation.
Yeah.
That was super cool that I actually didn't know.
Yeah.
And that was really fun.
I did know that.
I that was like one of the fun things about this is that I learned a bunch of little stupid things that like don't really matter at the end of the day. Yeah. But I was like, oh, that's awesome. I know that now. So I was really excited. Another one, and I won't go into this one unless you have more questions. Rudolph was a marketing ploy.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
I didn't know that either. They made him up just so they could like they had a story for I think it was like Macy's or Montgomery Ward.
If you notice that in most like Santa stories and stuff, there is no Rudolph
because he's copyrighted.
Yeah,
and I didn't understand why
because he's a marketing ploy.
Yes. Fun fact about Jingle Bells. It was originally a Thanksgiving song.
Cool.
Yeah. Turns out we first started dashing through the snow for an entirely different reason. James Lord Pierpoint wrote the song called One Horse Open Sleigh for his church's Thanksgiving concert in the mid-19th century. Then, in 1857, the song was re-released under the title we know and love now. Today is still among one of the most popular Christmas songs. I had no clue.
I did not know that.
Thanksgiving.
Interesting.
It actually has like a thing.
It's a thing.
There you go.
As an origin.
And then this is the last thing, which is kind of messed up, but I think it's pretty hilarious. Christmas decorating sends nearly 15,000 people to the ER every year.
Wow.
So, don't be a statistic.
Yeah.
Keep your house nice and bare.
I'm guessing it's because of falling from ladders.
Yeah, I want to say Safety Commission estimate 14,000 hospital each year. Yeah, holiday related decorating accidents. So it doesn't give a lot, but I would say sliding and falling off the roof.
Yeah.
Ladders, of course.
Yeah.
And then probably hammering fingers.
Could be.
That would be a good one, I would say.
Yeah. Now with the invention of command hooks, it's not as prevalent.
Wow. Are those the ones that slip underneath the shingle?
A command, like the ones you just put on a wall, like they stick
like
to
the 3M ones?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I just didn't want to use a name brand, but yeah.
No, it's cool. 3M owes me money anyway.
There you go.
No, I use them actually. I used all 3M stuff to hang up all my acoustic panels.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Because that way, it's apartment. I can't put holes in everything.
I hear you. I think it's interesting though, and it makes sense because here we are in America, which is a melting pot of tons of different cultures.
Everything.
So how we celebrate holidays today, in each holiday, there are bits and pieces of how other cultures celebrated holidays.
Absolutely.
So when you piece them all together, then the holidays as we currently celebrate them represents America, essentially, just by taking bits and pieces of how other cultures celebrated it and putting them together. Now, by doing that, you're losing most of the originality, right? Or the
original
how they
reason for it. Yeah,
right.
I get it.
The origin of it. So, but at the same time, it morphs into something on its own, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, we may have started doing X thing because of this reason, but we may continue to do it for new reasons.
Right.
Or sometimes with certain holidays, and it wasn't these three, unfortunately. Actually, no, it was. Where the holidays would go away for a while. Christmas was actually banned for a couple hundred years. Not only in England, but also in America. Apparently it was in Boston that for of course it was in Boston. It was like for 20 or 30 years where anyone that was showing, finger quotes, the Christmas spirit was fined 5 shillings.
Interesting.
Because it was illegal to do so. It had to do with the whole Puritans aspect and all that kind of fun stuff.
Right. That makes sense.
It wasn't interesting enough for me to put it into the fun facts, but it is pretty cool though.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like you're saying, some things will fall out of favor and then come back from different.
And they come back different than how they were originally celebrated too.
Absolutely.
So,
and that was the thing, is because the reason why it was the Puritans didn't like Christmas was because at that point it still had not been adopted fully as like a Christian, it hadn't been fully accepted by certain sects of Christianity as a Christian holiday. It was still considered to be very pagan.
I mean, these holidays they're marketing ploys to
it's a capitalist
to recruit Christians. It's like that's basically what
I thought you were talking about like what it is now. I'm like, Christmas is
both
mostly about gifts and companies,
right?
Let's be honest.
No, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's consumerism.
We're talking about Rudolph and Santa Claus. So, it's like,
right.
The reason for the season
right.
is, more of a joke than anything else, which is also funny as a slogan because it's like you're complaining about not remembering the thing that you think it's originally for, which is basically the same thing that you did to what it was originally for. So,
yeah. These are not things that were traditionally celebrated during the time of the person that is being worshipped.
Exactly.
So,
and that's always been my issue with it. Is just like, I don't have a problem with that thought process. It makes perfect sense. That whoever is like your dude, you celebrate the things that have to do with your dude. I get that.
Right.
But this has nothing to do with your dude.
Right.
The only thing that has to do with it is the fact that you had another big dude that you were like, no, don't look at him.
Yeah.
And so you had to try to take over his stuff.
Right.
That's all it really was.
Right. Superimpose your guy
It was
over
a
that
hostile
guy.
takeover of one company to another. That's what it really was.
Right.
But yeah. So that's pretty much all we have for this one.
Yeah.
Well, we just wanted to say thanks for listening to the Venti Questions podcast. We hope that you enjoyed our deep dive on the origins of some of the more popular holidays.
I did.
I mean, I learned some new stuffs.
Yeah.
But if you want to know how we feel about some other topics, be sure to join us next week when we'll be talking about what is death.
What is it?
It's a lot heavier than holidays. That's what it is.
A little bit.
But we'll find out more next week.
Yeah.
But also, if you'd like to help support the podcast, please make sure that you're sharing it with others, posting about it on social media, and then leave a rating or a review. Mm-hmm. Also, if you want to catch up with us about what we have going on, make sure you check us out on Instagram at Venti Questions or on Twitter at Venti_questions. And if you want to go ahead and check out some of our other content that we have on YouTube, it's now at Venti Questions as well. We got some little fun stuffs on there, a little bit different than this particular style. But yeah, other than that, thanks again, and
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.